to another installment of the MECCA podcast. I'm Mark Williams. I'm here with an esteemed guest. He goes by the name of Terrance "Munch" Williams, and he's going to sit and talk to us about how his program has made an impact on New York City basketball and also the national basketball scene, and then how he himself has led programs that's going to help benefit New York City and also the basketball concept, the world in and of itself. Welcome to our program.
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Let the people know exactly who you are and what you've done so far, because you know you have a long history in a New York City background.
Yeah, as you stated, Terrance "Munch" Williams. I'm the executive director of PSA Cardinals on the basketball side, Pro Scholars Athletics on the non-for-profit side. We've been around for about 10 years now. Our first graduating class was 2014 guys, heading to college. We've been fortunate enough to be able to place over 65 kids in the last 5-6 classes into different universities, ranging from Kentucky to Harvard to Penn, Gardner-Webb. It kind of runs its gauntlet. Currently, we have from 8th grade all the way up to 12th. I think one of the things that separated us and throughout our time has just been our communication with our guys throughout. So like, this year has been the first year for us to have guys graduate from college. So most guys are worrying about how many kids I'm putting in college for a class. Now we're to the point where we're trying to figure out how does these young men graduate from college, get a job, whether you're going overseas, whether you become a teacher, doctor, FedEx guy, whatever it is your line of work needs to be. So we've been around for a while, trying to do it at the highest level.
Now, we know that you don't do too many interviews, and again, we're appreciative of you stopping by. We're going to talk about primarily the landscape of New York City basketball. Being that you've seen it on a national level, where currently are we in the national scheme? Is New York City where it used to be as far as yesteryear's legendary status?
I mean, just speaking from a grassroots standpoint, I don't think we're as dominant as it was when, you know, the legendary Gauchos and Riverside, those guys were traveling around and pretty much beating up on the competition at the highest level pretty handily, right, at that time. I think right now we're able to be formidable where on each grassroots scene, whether it's Under Armour, Adidas, or Nike, we've been able to do well, right? I don't think it's just pure dominance, and I also think it's because we've stretched ourselves pretty thin as far as the amount of programs and our quality has started to become watered down where, you know, back in the days one team would have 10 high majors. Now it's like, all right, well, can I get 5 and then fill in from there. But I think we're in a good space. I think for us, the expectations for New York has always been higher than any place else. So it's not okay just to get a kid in the league. Everyone's saying, hey, well, yeah, but he's not an all-star. He's not a Hall of Famer, right?
Because we have that New York stigma.
Yeah, people different. We've allowed other people to set the bar and determine what our value is, as opposed to us saying this is what we're shooting for. If we just said, listen, how many guys we put in the NBA lately, or how many guys we put in college, we're pretty much where we're supposed to be, right? I think we're not in the we're in the top 3, right? And this is quote unquote our downtime, So I think we're in a good space.
If you were to change anything, you mentioned that we're spread out thin as far as AAU teams or programs in and of themselves. Not that you would say any particular name, but do you think that we have too many, or what would be an ideal number?
I think from a sneaker company standpoint,
the big boys, the big boys.
I want in just New York, I would say 3 should be the max. As far as it could be spaced out, it could be 1 on each circuit. That's fine. You take the top 10 guys, put them in Nike, next 10 put them in Adidas, next 10 put them in Under Armour. But I do respect the fact that there's a lot of different programs because they have different functions. And kids in general, they need an opportunity. And basketball can open up doors for you that most people didn't know. You don't have to be on a quote-unquote elite sneaker company team. You could be on your local team and get pushed and end up at a Bowdoin, or end up at Mount St. Mary's, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? So they all play that role, and I can't justify saying, hey, only the quote-unquote big dogs should have a contract or should be around, because at one point we were the guys who was just a local after-school program, and I love that, you know. So everybody's program fits some type of need for some type of kid.
If you took the top 30 of New York State, New York City, just New York City, let's say we put 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, would we be in the championship every year?
We would win. Like, we wouldn't just be in the championship. Like, PSA has experienced being in the championship of EYBL, which is arguably the best circuit in the country, you know, hands down. And we've been Final Fours, we've been championship, we've always been around that, and that's with 3 or 4 other teams in New York with other talent, right? Because there's some talented guys that play on different circuits, that's from New York City. So if we took out 10 kids, like, no, it's hands down, we beating people up. Okay,
understood. So we still have the talent that we once did at one point, but it's just, like you said, it's just spread out amongst 14 different programs and different other BS that goes into New York City.
Yeah, and you add on the fact that a lot of our guys at this current junction, the top guys are not playing basketball in New York City. So people start to say that kid is not from New York. Until he make it to the league.
Then he comes to New York.
Amadou Diallo was at Putnam Science in Connecticut. Now he's on the Thunder. He's a New York kid, born and raised. Actually, where his mama live at. So I think we have a tremendous amount of high level student athletes in New York City, and especially basketball players. They just don't necessarily go to school in New York.
Why do they go to school outside of New York?
Everyone's situation is different. I think some guys are looking for high level basketball. Some guys are looking for high level academics. Some guys are looking just for a safe haven. You know, and at some point you can burn out here. You know, New York's a fast and furious, you know, situation. But there's other guys who stayed and they made it. Right? Ty Jerome stayed and he's at UVA, first team All ACC. He got a chance to be a pro this year. Shavar Newkirk, he was in our program. He stayed the entire time at Cardinal Hayes and scored 1,000 points at St. Joe's, playing basketball somewhere for some money now. So there's the stories of guys staying, but then there's also stories of guys leaving. It's not as cookie cutter as people want it to be, but then guys from different states, they're matriculating to these different schools, It's not just New York City, and it happens across the board with different sports.
Just to get a little a reference, New York City players have always been traveling to go to prep schools outside. It's just now it's magnified because, you know, social media is here and all, you know, all these.
But I also think back then it was more so I'm not doing well academically. I'm leaving at the end. What we came in and PSA said was, no, you know what? Before you start having issues academically, we're going to try to get you into these schools where these guys are matriculating to the high moon academically. 7th grade, 8th grade. So, like, people don't know, for us, our first 2014 kids, our guys were going to prep schools in Massachusetts and in Boston in the 7th grade. You 12, 13 years old. Nobody knows those guys. Chris McCullough was at Salisbury at 14. Muhammad Bamba was at Cardigan Mountain in 8th grade. So that's in New Hampshire. And, you know, these guys it's not about academics. This is it's not about basketball all the time. Sometimes you're just like, I need to get out now and start preparing for my future, you know?
So when you compare, let's say, and I'm just throwing these names out there. Let's say you go to West Town versus Oak Hill for a game, and then you come and watch a public school game. Is there a big disparity between the two as far as atmosphere, talent, coaching? What would you say is the biggest difference between the two comparisons?
I would say style of play, Like when I go to public school games, Catholic school games, majority of public school, they're playing fast, Up and down, a lot of pressing, a lot of trapping. They're trying to score, you know. When I go to certain prep schools, they're not all the same, obviously. They're doing a lot more running things, running plays, schematic schemes. Guys are a little more calm, and they're, in a sense, they're in the system at times. When you're here, you're learning how to play and play off of instincts, I think. I mean, there's some good coaches in New York City, obviously. I think the size is a major factor. Where guys, in certain prep schools, you can play the position you might play in college, You're a 6'3" point guard. You're gonna play the point guard at Oak Hill. If you're a 6'3" guard, you can be found at the 4 at times, Does that teach you certain things? Yeah, to learn how to play uncomfortable, to learn how to just be on the court making plays. You know, you could be playing out of position for the long term, but it teaches you how to be a player. And the most important thing at this point is just being on the court. So there's a big difference, but there's some public schools in New York that could beat some private schools across the country, and vice versa. So it's to each his own.
In your time, and this is because you're on the EYBL circuit, who's probably the best overall play that you've seen? Well, let's take a
player,
yeah,
or talent.
Good differentiate.
Big difference.
All right, let me give me the best talent.
The best talent, pound for pound, has been Bobo. Over at Oregon. Natural talent, feel for the game, for his size, the things he can do. If you're not a big time basketball junkie, he can leave you in awe, right? Player, in the last few, Michael Porter was damn near a video game at times. When he was on, right? But I mean, we've seen a lot of talented guys. De'Aaron Fox, you know, I mean, the list goes on. Ben Simmons. The other thing I think about high school basketball, especially grassroots, is guys aren't at their maximum when we're going against them at 17 years old. So you could look at a kid like Ben Simmons. He completely was MIA against us. But you see who Ben Simmons is today, right? So it depends on the day, it depends on the moment, it depends on where their mindset is. These guys are young at 17, that time.
I wasn't right at 17.
Yeah, they're young, and they're playing for different things. Like, now you're playing for millions of dollars consistently. So I would say Bobo is the most natural, talented kid. The toughest kid was Stanley Johnson. I think mentally, his desire, his feel, his will, his competitiveness was at a different level than I seen at that time. You know, Stanley Johnson.
Okay, I got you.
This is long.
Who's your mentor growing up?
My mentor is a young lady, well, older young lady now, Marsha Scipio. She's a pastor and a lawyer. Went to Georgetown Law School. I don't give a resume, but someone that I connected with probably at the age of 14. But she never really cared about basketball. Like, everything about her was all about me as a young man, African American in New York City, and how to better my life in the circumstances that I grew up, right, which were pretty harsh. Curtis Washington, big time basketball player, St. Thomas Aquinas. To this day, you know, his son played with me. That's when I know I'm getting older like this. Right. But he's definitely a mentor, and I got life mentors. I don't really have basketball mentors. I don't really look for people. And
that's space. I understand that 1000%. So when you say that you, as an individual, are more so of a mentor to some of the young men that you work with, as opposed to a basketball guy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I try to be as versatile as possible, and I try to figure out each kid's individual needs. Right? Where if you got a kid like Cole, I feel like the most important thing between us is mentorship, manhood, doing right, knowing right from wrong, and living it. As opposed to, are you off balance going left? We can talk about it, we can work on it, we're gonna get a gym. But we're gonna spend more time on that stature of manhood. If you got a kid like Siobhan Newkirk, right? He has a phenomenal dad, mom's there. I'm gonna spend more time with you on the court, or just in the weight room trying to get you strong.
Because you're good in the household.
Yeah, you're good in that, right? And each kid in my program gets the individual instruction that they need, and that comes from like my educational background, right? Just figuring out, you got a whole group of guys, what does each one need? And they all got different needs. Some need tutoring, some need mentorship, some need basketball development, some just need a hug.
Some need kicking the ass.
Yeah, some need to do that at a high level. So we try to figure out, but me personally, I think that answer would have to be to the kid, and they can tell me what they need, and I'll try to fit that. You know, I'll try to be a chameleon and try to fit that need.
In yesteryear, there were a lot of influences as far as people that can call. You know, I remember the time when somebody would say, throwing a name on, Gary Charles can make a call and get you into Austin Peay University, whatever school, right? Whatever school may be. Do we lack that now? Where we have that one or two figures where we can just make a call and, lack of a better phrase, shit gets done?
I can't speak for what goes on outside of my realm. Right. I don't know what the other directors or the other programs have going on. I make calls, right? I make calls for my guys first and foremost. I've been fortunate enough to make certain calls for kids outside of my program, and I think.
All right, so if I'm just using a coach, let's say Todd Bozeman. I just chose him, right? And I see your name come up on my call ID.
You answer.
You picking that.
You have no choice.
Gotcha.
At this point in time, You answer the phone.
So then you're an influencer. You're in a position where you can make a call on behalf of a player or players and get shit done.
I think I'm at the
or have a conversation.
I'm at the point now where, not to be arrogant,
I'm
humbly saying it, I'm not necessarily the one that got to make the call to them. They're more so making the call to me from a standpoint of, this is what I'm looking for. Right. Do you know any guys? Right. First and foremost, does anyone in your program fit the bill? Right. And then it's expanded, which is great for me because I'm able to help guys who are not in my program that I just think are good kids. They need opportunity. They're Division I worthy, or maybe Division II, whatever the case may be. I don't mind connecting the dots. So at this point, where because of the amount of work that my group of guys have put in, and our staff, and our core, I think we're pretty much the power brokers, for the moment.
Right, and I think that's what's lacking in New York City. We're so fragmented within New York City that we don't have a singular. Not that we should be. We shouldn't be a place that we don't have the same power that we once did within the communities outside of New York.
I think the power comes from, at the end of the day, you gotta have power in numbers, right? Power is in talent. Right? If you don't have, we got 10 Division I kids every year. Keith Stevens has 10 Division I kids in DC. Right. The reason why he's powerful is because all of those coaches know he has 10 Division I players.
So they're gonna come fuck with him.
They're gonna come say, hey, you don't want to not be on the boat, right? You wanna, when your turn comes, you want to make sure it works for you. So I think where we're at for PSA, I think we're comfortable in knowing that we can get certain things done, and we don't mind going the extra mile, right? So like, we'll work harder for the kid that's number 10 on our team than the kid that's number 2. Like the kid that's number 10, quote unquote, on our team is going to Dartmouth this year, right? That kid is going to come out and make a huge amount of money, right? And probably be the agent. On the same team with Cole Anthony, he might be his agent or his financial advisor if they do things calculated and correctly, right? But I mean, last year I got a kid go to BU. I made 50 calls, sent out 100 videos, talked to over 70 coaches, various levels. But he's at BU and playing 20 minutes a game. Yeah, the ends defines the means, right? So
to get us back to that national promise, if that's such a thing, what should we do? What should we do as a city?
I think us as the adults, we got to do a better job of teaching our guys how to be unselfish. Just speaking from the grassroots standpoint, guys got to want to play with each other. Talent has to want to play with talent. And I don't care if it's in my program, right? We got an influx of talent. The covering is pretty stable. I think I like to see Jalen Q play with Cole Anthony and Joe Tasson. Right? I like to see, Mo Bamba play with Nick Richards. You know what I mean? I want to see Hamidou Diallo say I'm okay playing next to Brandon Randolph on the opposite wing. Right? Like, I think somehow, some way, we got to get high-level guys to want to play with high-level guys and be okay with, I don't have to shoot up all the basketball. Right. I can still get to where I want to go and still have a role on a legitimate elite team. But I think that's up to the adults to explain to these kids that at some point you got to give to get more.
What's prohibiting that from happening? You said the adult. What exactly within the adulthood is prohibiting that? I
mean, personally, I feel like it's a lot of selfish intentions where kid A, you just want him to be his own star, right? And you're not teaching them how to play with others, right? When you're a kid, you learn how to play with others in the playground, right? You just saying, no, go over there with your football and just keep running around like the Barry Sanders, right? But I think if the adults were okay with saying, this kid can still go to the league that I'm in charge of, that I'm looking over, that I'm mentoring, this kid gonna still, his trajectory is the same. Like, destiny is destiny. Whether or not you get 18 points or 14, you're still going to where you want to go, right? And people got to do more research on understanding it's not just about numbers. It's not just about shot attempts. Winning holds value. Right. If you're so-called excited about making your city the best it can be, we need to start putting these kids together and getting on the biggest platform possible. We're kind of like, obviously, a dog-eat-dog world. It's so competitive that it's hard for guys on different programs to root for a different program, right? If I'm Castle, I'm not jumping up and down saying PSA go win Peach Jam, I'm saying, behind the scenes, I hope you lose.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
It's the reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the reality. I mean, people say, I want you to win, but I've been in that situation where we get the peach jam and everybody hopes we lose. And we go out in the first round, and they're still hoping.
Right.
Semifinals, damn. Championship game, do it for New York.
Right.
But you've been kicking me in the back, you know, for the last 12 months.
Right.
You know, that's not how it works, right? It's not, in my opinion.
Right.
But if you can't say as a collective, we'll get the city back to where we're supposed to be. If people focus on it individually and just make your program the best it possibly can be,
right,
then collectively we'll be back. In my opinion, right? I think we get more respect, especially PSA. We get more respect out of the city than we do in our own city, for various reasons, right? But I think real recognize real.
Being that you've been a staple in New York City for some time, let's play a little fantasy basketball. Give me your top. Let's do it 2 by position. So your top center, power forward, all the way down. What they were in high school, not what they became. Let's say, for instance, let's say somebody was a point here, became a 2 in college.
From 14 up?
14 up.
All right. Center position, I'm going Shaq Diallo. Unprecedented motor production. And I'm going Obama, right? That's my centers. At the power forward position, I'm going Thomas Bryant. And I'll slide Jesse Govain in there at the 4. Really a 5, but I'll slide him at the 4. At the 3, I'm going with New York City. I'm going with Hamidou Diallo. Or maybe he's a 2.
No, he's a 3.
I'll go with him at the 3. And a Spanish kid with the Lightning. Played with the Blazers for a little bit.
What year?
He's 20.
He's in college now?
15. No, he's been out. Maybe 2014. Maybe him. All right, or I'll just go Brandon Randolph. That's my safe bets, right? 2A. Shooting guards, buckets. Thinking of all the teams. I'm gonna come back to shooting guards. Point guards, that's a tough position. New York. I gotta go Cole Anthony right now. And Shamari, love him. All right. Back to my shooting guards.
Back to your shooting guards.
Back to my shooting guards. It's a tough one, which is sad. Shooting guards. Shooting guards. I don't even have it. I'm stuck on
shooting guards.
We should have went Hamidou Brandon.
You can still do it.
All right, so who's your 3? Who's replacing Hamidou?
I'm gonna go Hamidou Brandon at the 2, right?
So
and then I'm gonna shift to the 3. I still got, I don't know why I don't remember this kid's name. Dana would know. Ask him. That's 1. And 2 would be, man, I don't know.
At the 4?
Yeah, I'm going Angel Delgado. At the 4. I'm going with him. He was a monster.
All right, so at the 5 we got.
At the 5 we got Sheck and Mo.
The 4
at the 4 I'm going Delgado and Thomas.
Brian. Yeah.
I probably should move Thomas out and get Spellman in there.
Woo.
Cause he.
Let's do that again.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm taking Delgado. I'm just gonna go PSA.
Nah, you can't do PSA. This is New York. This is New York.
Yo, we got the better guys. What you want me to say? At those positions.
All right, that's crazy. All right, so you got Mo, Diallo. Who's your 4s? It doesn't matter.
I'll go Delgado, Spellman.
All right.
At the 4.
Your 3s?
The 3s we got Kadeem.
Yeah.
And question mark.
Yeah.
The 2s we had Hamidou and Randolph.
Yeah.
And at the 1 we had Cole and Shamari. That's a tough one.
I'm sure your 3s, your 2 A's, no, the 3rd person you would choose, can compete just as much as different.
Oh yeah, no. It's a lot of talent. It's just for me, as I'm processing it, I'm thinking of different teams and who they had, right? So, and how did they perform? So obviously, I'm gonna have a soft spot for my guys.
Right.
I mean, shit, McDonald Americans.
Yeah. All of them were, right? Most of them. Cole not as of yet.
Yeah.
Shamari.
I mean, it's a lot of guys got left over. Jordan Brand, right? Shamari.
He was Jordan, yeah.
And he did some stuff.
He's killing right now.
I was a fan.
Yeah.
There's some guys we don't have that I like.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Who didn't play for PSA that represented New York very well?
That's a good question. Kadeem Carrington stands out to me. I love Keith Williams. I think Isaiah Washington was really good on the circuit. A lot of them, I mean, I don't count the City Rocks, I guess, but they got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop there for time purposes.
We got time. And the first phone call, you said, "Holy shit!" It's band coach. It's someone along the lines of.
You know what? Something I was like, wow, I'm somebody now.
Yeah.
It wasn't a phone call. It was sitting down with Coach K at Duke, like on a visit, and the way that it's designed. It was kind of like, it's crazy because you take the visit and in the beginning, you're walking around, the assistants doing their jobs, showing you, and then you kind of like go to the upper room. And like the whole time, you might have been on campus for about an hour. And you get to the upper room and he coming in on that Jesus. And I'm a big time Duke fan. And he's like, "Hey, what's up, Munch?" And that's when I'm like, "Oh, all right, this is different." So, I mean, I would say that more so than a phone call. Like the phone call, first you gotta get the number in your phone.
Right, like, who's
right?
this?
So I don't really answer the numbers that's not in my phone.
Right.
So I think the first time I met him and like had a normal conversation, and he kind of was like, "Look, I know who you are and what you about and what you're doing," and it was like a mutual respect. That was the moment. I'm like, we can do whatever we want to do with this.
There's a knock on New York City basketball and basketball as a whole as reclassing. Back in my day, we called it left back, and that was primarily due to academic reasons. Like, kid was definitely not doing well.
Like that.
Yeah, he was not doing well academically, so we just put him in a different situation or left him back for a year. What's your thoughts on the reclass situation? I know it's an individual thing, but overall, is that helping or hindering basketball collectively?
I mean, it's both. I mean, it depends on the mindset of the kid, right? If you reclass it for basketball, and you're not saying I'm gonna take my game to the next level, and you just get comfortable with, I'm gonna play this grade, I'm gonna play this age group, and I don't want to work on my craft, like, then that's a problem. That's hindering the culture. That's hindering the kid. You know, if you're saying, hey, for whatever reason, I just kind of need this year back to get myself together. And what we're seeing now is a lot of guys reclassing back up, right? So in a sense, they're manipulating the system, which is smart. But if you're somebody who's serious about the game, and you're like, look, all right, I'm just not where I need to be at this moment, and I'm willing to work, I don't have an issue with that. Just be willing to work, consistently get better. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna meet guys at your age, right? Whether you're 18 or 19 in college as a freshman, you're still playing against 22, 23-year-olds. Right. Whether you reclass in 7th grade and you're 14 and you're playing varsity, or 15 and you're playing varsity, still playing against 18, 19-year-olds. So the reclass thing only is basketball-wise buying you some time to get yourself together if you got work ethic.
Should players play up as opposed to playing either down or their level to get better? Meaning, if I'm 17, ideally I want to play against 19-year-olds to really test my mettle.
Here's the thing, and once again, it's always going to be an individual basis.
Of course, right.
You have to play a grade that you're going to play, right? First and foremost. The whole, I'm going to play up as a freshman and play 17s and play 5 minutes or 7 minutes, that doesn't do anything for you. You need to move on down, play 16s, play 25 minutes, or play 15s and play the game and work on stuff. Get in a space where your development is more important than winning. And if that's at your grade, then play that. We've been fortunate enough to have 5 guys go to league, and 5 of those kids play 15s, 16s, and 17s. And each year they've gotten better, and then they continue the same thing in college. So there's no like perfect formula. It's individual based, but you also come back to your work ethic, right? I have an issue with guys that are like, hey, I want to play up, but you really want to play up because you got that get out of jail free card, which is if I play bad, I'm playing up. Or if I get 6 points, it's wow, look at me, I played up and got 6 points. So you're looking for an easy road to not be accountable. That's the issue. A lot of us don't want to have our kids be accountable for production at a certain level. So if you're accountable for production at the 15s or 16s or 17s, whatever that's going to be prepared. But also be prepared as you play up to fall on your face. And get better when you do it.
Is that a bad thing, falling on your face?
Never. We all fall. When we rode that bike, nobody rode that bike probably straight away and didn't fall. I seen McDonald Americans fall on their face and get up and become McDonald Americans.
Do you think that basketball as a whole is a microcosm of society and that we're babying these kids a little bit more than we actually should be?
I think certain situations, right? I feel like some kids get appeased because there's some level of connection and rhyme and reason attachment to that kid, as opposed to like tough love. But it all circles back to the kids kind of like, hey, if you give me too much tough love and I don't want it, I'm gonna walk away. They don't see the long-term value of the tough love because the reality is you're not walking on somebody's college campus. We're supposed to be trying to figure out how to prepare these kids for someone's college campus, on and off the court. There's not a lot of coaches trying to baby you unless you're that guy. Right? So you might as well get comfortable being uncomfortable. Until you can become comfortable.
What is the ultimate goal of AAU basketball, youth basketball, and grassroots basketball? Obviously, it's on an individual basis. But what's the ultimate goal, you think, for all of this that we're doing?
I think every director is going to answer that differently. I think from the kids' perspective, the ultimate goal should be to provide a safe haven for them to grow as young men, on and off the court, and learn life lessons through the game of basketball. From a basketball standpoint, I think the ultimate goal should be to provide a platform in which you can get seen and viewed at your best, in hopes of eventually receiving a free education or at close to that number that you possibly can. That's what I think.
And from the director standpoint?
I mean, that's what it is from my standpoint. I think, what the platform should be for the directors? I think for the directors, it should be figuring out ways to manipulate the system to help those kids and their families, right? How can you figure out this jigsaw puzzle enough where you can move things around to the fact that you could affect lives, bless you, right? Other people's lives in a positive manner, where you can look back and say, that kid was on point A and now his family is on Z, and be comfortable with it. That's what I think you should do.
My job is to get these kids a free education. The school wants the banner. The school wants, I got this.
The question is, how do you center yourself with other people that think the same way? If you're in a school that just want the banner, you're in the wrong place. The best place to be for your job, if you say my job is to get kids to school,
college,
and if he can be in a school, right, a high school, that thinks the same way. Now we got 150 people working at the same goal. We're not pulling this person here, tiny arguing, who somebody might be arguing. Listen, this kid got to go to study hall. No, forget that. That kid got to go get some more shots up. If you're in the right place at the right time with the right people, y'all all going to be saying the same thing. The language going to be the same. We all saying without second thoughts, his ass need to go to study hall.
Yeah, but that's not the norm.
It's not the norm. So the hustle is, how do you find a place that's where it's at? Which is why PSA don't got a bunch of different coaches. Because if you thinking, man, I just want some sneakers, it's not the place. Or I just want to win Peace Jam, it's not the place. If you thinking everybody in this program better be working on how do we get more kids to college and eventually get them to graduate, eventually get them to come out of society and do great. Right? Flip the mattress. That's what you're trying to figure out. How do we flip that dirty mattress to a clean one until we get dirty and then flip it again? But you got to get around those type of people.
Yeah, I think that's the problem within New York City.
In grassroots, the problem is the people, in my opinion, the people are the same, right? Us as adults, we're not growing. So like, you grew up playing for, let's say you grew up playing for Pop down the street at 12. But Pop down the street is the same adult. He's still going to the corner store. He's still buying that same can of soda.
Right.
And his mindset never changed.
Right.
Now Pop is coaching your son.
Right.
How's that help? We need growth. Right? But what happens is Pop down the street, he coached in every AAU program in the city,
right.
but he's the same person. He just switched polos.
Right.
We need fresh people. Like, I want to be around these people that got different mindsets that could push me to the moon. Like if you went to Spain and you could tell me, yo, Munch, this is what Spain looking like. Boom, boom, this is what they do in Spain. We can learn some stuff. But if you've been on the block the whole time and I've been on the block, shit, all we know is the block.
And we see the same shit.
The same thing. And we ain't not even trying to figure out how to get off the block. But if you look at AAU, the same dudes that was there when you was 12, they still there. They ain't changed as people.
Right.
They not even talking different language. They not even saying, yo, man, I know back in the days, I was on that basketball shit. I just wanted them newest Adidas. But now I'm on some other stuff, man. I'm about community service. I'm about soup kitchens. I'm about getting kids in school. I'm different now. I've grown. You had the same conversation when motherfucking 14 that you have in 2020. That's dangerous for these kids. You know what I'm saying? That's dangerous. We in a bad space. And they ain't signed up for it. They just know y'all came here to be coached.
Yep.
But you know what happens? Those people, they get, in a sense, put on a pedestal because they've been in the game so long. Right. So you think, yo, at one point he was pop. He's still a man. He's not the man no more.
Right.
Somebody else got to be, I don't know who, but somebody else got to be the man because these kids need help.
Yeah. And to piggyback what you're saying is the same cadre of coaches that were there when I was there, like you said, mentioned, are still around.
Yeah.
Who's going to bring in that new blood? Who's going to bring in the new hungry kids that's like, we got to move this to a different level. We got to take social, whatever it is, whatever the new format is to get it to the next level.
I think the people, the program, maybe it's yours, right? The program that's not scared to go against the norm.
Right.
The program that's not scared to ruffle feathers. The program that's not afraid to be the outcast. There's going to be another program that comes. And it's like, yeah, I don't care what you say. I'm doing it this way because I did the research.
Right.
I'm willing to work. I know what this leads to, and this is the way it's going to happen. Somebody's going to just say, I'm not doing the same cookie cutter stuff that everybody else grew up doing. They're going to have different values. They're going to have different mindset, different work ethic. They're going to take this thing to the next, the elevator's going to go up. It probably is not a program that's currently going as we speak.
Right.
It has to be someone that's like, look, I'm 22, and I got 8 years to burn.
Could that person come from your program or as an offshoot? I think one of the things that we pride ourselves on here at Team FOOTPRINTZ, is not a commercial from us, is that we're taking our platform and using it for our kids to grow, whether it's doing photography, doing videography, being like to use their skills to go on and hit the rail and do that real shit, right? Could it be somebody that within your program that's you're coaching right now that may end up being the next PSA combined with New Heights, like somebody that ill?
They won't combine.
I mean, like they using that different mindset, taking stealing from this program.
It could be
from that.
because the thing is with us, and when you look at like the top colleges, they bring back their alumni. Right. So for us, we're trying to make a push that's like, look, we the old heads. Let's bring back our alumni. Let's bring back the Shavars. Let's bring back the Kevin Seymours, the Francisco Zeno. So now you're looking in our program, you're like, yo, who's that? Oh, he played here when he was 12. Right. He played here when he was all the way through. Nobody know him. Right. Now, that kid knows everything from us, from infrastructure and how we operate because he lived it. Right. But he went out into the world and learned some other stuff that he can bring back and eventually say, look, I know PSA is doing this. I either want to be in charge to take it to the next level, or we as a group, young guys, right, your class, 14, 15, on up, or they say, look, I want to do my own off branch. We've had guys in my program that started, all they said was Munch, I want to do a 7th grade. And I said, go do it. You could be under the umbrella. It's all you. It's all you. Right. Nobody's overseeing you. If you need help, pick up the phone, knock on the door, you got it. But he ran it in a fashion that he believed was the right way. Right. So he's seen how we do things and he's seen the results because he lived the result. Now it's up to that person to come. So I think they can do it if that's what they want to do. Right. And all we supposed to do as the older people is support them to the maximum. Make every phone call, open up every gym door, have every materialistic object at his beck and call, and make sure that he got all of the utensils to make this new house. Damn.
Oh, we just had a great conversation on the MECCA, the podcast, with Terrance Munch Williams. I'm Mark Williams. Any parting words, anything you want to end with as far as New York City basketball, the scene itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just, let's just try to be great. You know, let's not be average. Let's push the needle. Let's go as far as we can go with it. Let's dare to be different. And at the end, at the core, let's continue to make sure the kids are first, foremost, and make sure they're right before we as the adults get all set.
Create your own destiny.
Own it.
Own your destiny. Own your
destiny at all times.
Thank you, sir, for stopping by. I know you're a busy man and you don't do too much media, but I appreciate it.
It's good.
Thank you.
I trust you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
That's it. We out of here.